Have you ever looked back over the years and thought to yourself, I worked hard. I did the best I could. So why does money still feel like a constant weight on my shoulders? You're not alone. Millions of older Americans are quietly asking the same question. The truth is, it's not always about how much you earn. Sometimes, it's about what slowly slips through the cracks. The little decisions, the everyday habits, and the things we've been told are normal, or even smart, but in reality, are quietly draining our wealth. And that's what this video is about. This isn't a list of fancy investment tricks or complicated financial jargon. This is a conversation, one that I wish someone had with me 20 or 30 years ago. Today, I want to walk with you through 10 financial traps, common, everyday things that many of us fall into, especially as we get older. These aren't just mistakes. They're patterns, and they can rob us of the peace and security we've worked so hard to build. But here's the good news. You can stop the leak. You can change course, no matter where you're starting from. If you're in your 50s, 60s, or even 70s, this is still your time. The wisdom you have today is more powerful than you think. And by making just a few smarter choices, you can protect your financial future, reduce stress, and leave behind something truly meaningful, not just for yourself, but for the people you love. So let's take a deep breath, leave any guilt or regret at the door, and walk through these 10 wealth drainers together, with calm, with clarity, and with confidence. Let's begin. 1. Buying brand new cars. Let me ask you something. Have you ever bought a brand new car, fresh off the lot, and felt that wave of satisfaction? The clean seats, the new car smell, the admiring looks from neighbors? It feels good, doesn't it? You earned it. You deserve something nice. But here's what most people are never told. The moment you drive that brand new car off the dealership lot, it has already lost up to 15% of its value. Before you even make it home, you may have thrown away thousands of dollars. And for what? A scent that fades in a week, and a monthly payment that sticks around for years. Within 5 years, most new cars lose over half their value. So if you bought a $40,000 car, it may only be worth $20,000 5 years later. But if you financed it, you're still making payments as if it were worth the full 40. Add interest, and the real cost climbs even higher, sometimes reaching $50,000 or more over time. Now think about this. If you had taken that same $40,000 and invested it in a simple S&P 500 index fund, just a basic stock market fund, and left it there for 20 years, it could grow to over $180,000. That is the real cost of that new car smell. And here is what the wealthy do differently. Most financially savvy people, including billionaires like Warren Buffett, buy used cars. Buffett himself drove a modest used Cadillac for years, long after he became a billionaire. Why? Because he understood something that most of us don't hear often enough. A car is not an investment. It is an expense. It loses value the moment you own it. It takes money out of your pocket every month through payments, insurance, maintenance, and taxes. So what is the smarter move? Buy a car that is 2 or 3 years old with low mileage. Look for brands known for reliability, like Toyota or Honda. These vehicles hold their value, cost less to repair, and often still come with part of the manufacturer's warranty. That one simple change, choosing gently used over brand new, could save you $10,000 to $15,000 or more instantly. Money that can go into your savings, your retirement, or even something as meaningful as helping a grandchild with college. And if you are someone who truly wants a new car, and I understand, sometimes we just want that experience, take a step back and do the full calculation. Is it worth trading away $180,000 of future peace for something that loses value every time you turn the key? For many people in their 50s or 60s, the answer becomes clearer with time. This isn't about guilt. It's about choice. You've worked hard for your money. You deserve to make decisions that build your future, not drain it. Let's move on to the next financial trap, one that often looks like a dream getaway but becomes a lifelong burden. 2. Timeshares. Let's talk about vacations. Because after a lifetime of working, raising families, and showing up for others, you deserve rest. You deserve joy. You deserve to get away once in a while. To sit by the water, breathe fresh air, and simply enjoy life. That's why timeshares sound so appealing. They promise you a slice of paradise, a guaranteed place to return to year after year. Salespeople will smile, show you pictures of ocean views, and talk about building memories. And in the moment, it all sounds so reasonable. But here's the truth that too many people only discover after it's too late. A timeshare is not an investment. It is a financial commitment, one that can quietly drain your wealth for years, even decades. Most timeshares start with a large upfront payment, often $20,000 or more. That's just to get in the door. Then come the annual maintenance fees, starting around $800, but often climbing to $2,000 or more each year. And here's the kicker. You pay those fees whether you use the property or not. Now let's imagine you try to sell it. That's when reality hits. The resale market is flooded with people desperate to get out. Some are even offering to pay others to take the contract off their hands. There are entire websites full of listings from people practically giving away their timeshares just to escape the fees. Let me share a real story. Robert, a retired firefighter from Miami, bought a timeshare in Florida for $30,000. 5 years later, he tried to sell it for half that price. He did not get a single offer. Not one. Meanwhile, financially wise people approach travel very differently. They use services like Airbnb, VRBO, or discounted hotels. They go where they want, when they want, without being locked into one location or one time of year. They enjoy modern accommodations, flexibility, and most importantly, freedom. Because let's be honest, what good is a vacation if it comes with stress, contracts, and bills that follow you home? And if you already own a timeshare and feel trapped, you are not alone. There are specialized companies that can help you legally exit those contracts. But be cautious and always research the company carefully. Some are legitimate, some are not. Better yet, if you are considering a timeshare now, pause, breathe. Ask yourself one important question. Does this give me more financial freedom or less? You have earned the right to rest, recharge, and enjoy life. But you do not need a timeshare to do that. There are smarter, more flexible ways to travel without signing away your peace of mind. Let's move forward, because the next financial trap may be sitting right in your closet, and it has nothing to do with vacations. 3. Luxury items and designer brands. Let's talk about appearances. Because in today's world, it is easy to feel like we have to look a certain way, dress a certain way, to be seen as successful. We see it everywhere. Television, social media, advertisements, even among friends. Maybe it is a $2,000 handbag, or a $10,000 watch, or shoes that cost more than your first used car did. It is tempting. After all, you have worked hard, and you might think, why not treat myself? I deserve something beautiful. And that is true. You do. But here is the question worth asking. Is this about joy? Or is it about status? Because while those luxury items may make you look successful for a moment, they can quietly keep you from actually becoming and staying financially free. Here is what many people do not see behind the scenes. There are folks walking around with the latest designer clothes, yet they are swimming in debt. They are making minimum payments on credit cards, borrowing from savings, or delaying retirement, all to look the part. Meanwhile, many real millionaires, They dress simply. They live modestly. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same gray t-shirt every day. Warren Buffett lives in the same home he bought back in 1958. These people understand a simple truth. Wealth is not something you wear. It is something you build. Let us look at the math. Spending $500 on a pair of designer shoes might not seem like a big deal. But if that money had been invested in a low-cost stock market fund with an average return of 8% per year, it could grow to more than $20,000 over the course of 20 years. And if you put that purchase on a credit card and only paid the minimum, the interest could double the cost, making it a $1,000 pair of shoes before you even realize it. Now, does this mean you should never buy something nice? Of course not. Beauty and quality have their place. The problem comes when these purchases happen before you are financially stable, or when they take priority over investments and peace of mind. Here is a helpful rule of thumb. If a luxury item costs more than 1% of your total net worth, it might be too early to buy it. So what can you do if you still love nice things? Consider resale platforms like The RealReal or Vestiaire Collective. They offer authentic designer items at a fraction of the price. Or try rental services like Rent the Runway if you want something elegant for a special occasion without the long-term commitment. The goal is not to avoid joy. It is to prioritize freedom. Because the truth is, when your money is working for you, when you are free from stress and debt, that is when you feel truly rich. Let us keep going. Because while spending on luxury is visible, our next financial trap is almost invisible. And yet, it costs Americans billions every year in false hope. 4. Gambling and the lottery. Let me say something gently but honestly. Sometimes, when life feels tight, when money is short, and the future feels uncertain, it is tempting to take a chance, to believe that maybe, just maybe, a scratch-off ticket, a trip to the casino, or one more Powerball ticket could change everything. That little moment of hope, it feels good. It feels like a door might open. But here is what we need to talk about, not to judge, but to protect. The lottery and gambling are designed, yes, designed, to take money from the people who can least afford to lose it. It is often called the tax on hope. Why? Because people spend and spend on the dream of hitting it big, while the odds are stacked against them from the very beginning. Let's look at the numbers. The odds of winning the Powerball jackpot are about 1 in 292 million. To put that in perspective, you are far more likely to be struck by lightning, not once, but twice, than to win the jackpot. And yet, the average American still spends nearly $400 a year on lottery tickets. Now imagine this instead. If that same $400 was invested every year in a low-cost stock market fund, just something simple and steady, over 30 years, it could grow to over $50,000. Let me tell you about Sarah from Ohio. Over 12 years, she spent more than $15,000 on scratch-offs and tickets. Her biggest win? $50. When she did the math, she said it made her stomach turn. But again, this is not about shame. It is about truth and choices. Because the wealthy do gamble, but not on lottery numbers. They take calculated risks. They invest in businesses, in real estate, in the market. They put their money where the odds are in their favor, where time, not luck, becomes the secret weapon. So what can you do if you enjoy the feeling of taking a chance? Create a small entertainment budget, 1% or 2% of your fund money, just enough to enjoy without damaging your financial future. Or better yet, channel that same energy into investing apps that are engaging and accessible, like Acorns or Robinhood. They give you the satisfaction of watching your money grow, but with a much better long-term return. You deserve to hope, you deserve to dream. Just make sure those dreams are built on solid ground, not quicksand. Now, If gambling is a slow drip on your finances, the next trap we are going to talk about is more like a vacuum. It is fast, dangerous, and has millions of people caught in it right now. 5. Credit card debt. Let's talk about something sitting quietly in millions of wallets across America. Something small, plastic, and powerful. The credit card. Now, used the right way, credit cards can offer convenience, rewards, even fraud protection. But used the wrong way, especially when carrying a balance month to month, they become one of the most dangerous financial traps of all. Let me be clear. Credit card debt is not just expensive, it is destructive. The average interest rate on a credit card today is over 20%. That means if you owe $5,000 and only make minimum payments, it could take you over 15 years to pay it off. And you might end up paying more than $10,000 in interest alone. Let that sink in. You bought a few things, maybe a television, some clothes, or helped out a family member. But over time, those items cost double or more, all because of interest. Here is a true story. Dave from Boston charged $7,000 to furnish his new apartment. He made minimum payments for years. By the time he paid it off, the total cost was over $16,000. And the furniture? Long gone. The credit card companies know exactly what they are doing. They set those minimum payments low, $30, maybe $50, not to help you, but to keep you in debt as long as possible. While you struggle, they collect, quietly, month after month. But here is the good news. You can take control. If you have credit card debt right now, start with something called the avalanche method. That means you pay as much as you can toward the card with the highest interest rate while making minimum payments on the others. Once that first card is paid off, move to the next. You build momentum. You see progress. And if that feels overwhelming, know this. There are tools that can help. Apps like Undebit or Tiller Money help you create a clear plan. And sometimes just seeing the path forward brings peace. Now, for those of you who do not carry a balance, here is the smart way to use credit cards. Use them only for what you can afford to pay in full each month. Treat them like cash. Take advantage of points or cashback, but never, ever pay interest. Because when you do that, you flip the power back into your hands. And that is what this is all about. Regaining control. Credit card debt has a way of creeping up quietly. A little here, a little there. But it does not have to control your future. You have choices. You have strength. And you can turn this around. One decision, 1 month, one payment at a time. Now, let us move forward. Because while credit cards are dangerous, the next trap we will explore is even trickier. A financial decision that looks like an opportunity, but can leave people paying for decades. 6. Expensive and useless degrees. Let's talk about education. For decades, we were told that college was the key. Go to school, get a degree, and success will follow. That was the message. From our parents, our teachers, and even society as a whole. And for a long time, that was mostly true. But today, the numbers tell a different story. Right now, the average cost of a 4-year college degree in the United States is well over $100,000. And that does not even include housing, books, or lost income during those years. Now imagine you or someone you love takes out loans to pay for that degree. And after graduation, the job pays just $30,000 or $40,000 a year, sometimes even less. This is the reality for millions of Americans. And it is not just young people who are feeling the weight. Many parents and even grandparents have co-signed student loans for their children and grandchildren. They wanted to help. They believed it was the right thing to do. But now, years later, they are watching their own retirement savings shrink. Not because they lived beyond their means, but because of a promise that education would always pay off. Let me share the story of Jennifer, a mother from Indiana. She helped her daughter pursue a degree in visual arts. They borrowed over $60,000. Her daughter's first job after graduation paid $32,000 a year. After 5 years, the loan balance had barely changed. This is not a failure of love. It is a failure of the system. The truth is, not all degrees offer a good return on investment, and not all educational paths require a traditional college experience. So, what is the wiser way forward? Start by asking important questions. Will this degree lead to a real job with a sustainable income? Is there a more affordable way to learn the same skills? Can we begin with community college or online courses instead of a 4-year university right away? There are so many alternatives today that did not exist 20 or 30 years ago. Certification programs in fields like information technology, web development, or data analysis often cost less than $10,000, and many led to starting salaries of $60,000 or more. Community colleges can offer the first 2 years of education at a fraction of the cost of a university. Then you can transfer. No debt, no wasted time. And there are excellent free or low-cost platforms online, like Coursera, edX, or LinkedIn Learning, that teach real, in-demand skills from top institutions. If you or someone in your family is considering higher education, do the math first. Look up the average salaries for that field. Compare programs. And be honest about the long-term cost. And if you are already carrying student debt, talk to a financial advisor about repayment options, forgiveness programs, or income-based plans that may help relieve the pressure. Education is powerful. Knowledge can change lives. But wisdom means asking, what is this really worth? And what will it truly cost me over time? Now, let's move on. Because the next trap is one many people fall into when they have a little extra money and a dream. But instead of joy, it often brings stress, regret, and years of unnecessary bills. 7. Boats, vacation homes, and luxury toys. Let me ask you something. Have you ever dreamed of owning a boat? A cabin in the mountains? A place by the lake where you could unwind and feel free? That dream is beautiful. And after working hard for decades, it can feel like a well-earned reward. But here is the part no one tells you until it is too late. That dream can quickly turn into a financial burden, one that quietly drains your savings, creates stress, and ends up delivering far less joy than you imagined. There is an old joke among boat owners. They say the 2 best days in a boat owner's life are the day they buy the boat and the day they sell it. Behind that joke is a painful truth. A boat that costs $50,000 or $60,000 might only be used 10 days a year. But the maintenance, insurance, storage, fuel, and repairs continue all year long. That can add up to $5,000 or even $10,000 a year, whether the boat leaves the dock or not. Let us do the math. If you use the boat 10 times a year and spend $10,000 annually to maintain it, that is $1,000 per day on the water. Now, let us take Mike from Tampa as an example. He bought his dream boat for $65,000. In 5 years, he used it only 8 times per year. He realized he was spending over $2,000 for each day he went sailing, and that did not include the original cost of the boat. He eventually sold it and said the greatest gift was not the boat itself, it was letting it go. The same goes for vacation homes, property taxes, maintenance, cleaning, travel, repairs. It all adds up. And just like timeshares, many vacation homes are used only a few weeks a year, yet cost thousands each month in upkeep. Now, here is what financially wise people do instead. They rent luxury rather than own it. When they want to go boating, they use services like Get My Boat or Boat Setter. They enjoy the experience without the long-term commitment. When they want to get away, they use Airbnb or a hotel. No mortgage, no maintenance, no constant bills. And here is the powerful part. That $60,000 or $70,000 you might spend on a boat or vacation property. If you invest that money instead in a basic stock market fund, over 10 or 15 years, it could grow to well over $100,000. So the question becomes this: is it worth $100,000 of your future for a few sunny weekends a year? There is nothing wrong with enjoying life. You have earned that right. But ask yourself, is this purchase going to bring lasting joy? Or is it going to bring ongoing bills, stress, and silent regret? If the answer is not clear, consider this simple rule. If the annual cost of owning something is more than 5% of your after-tax income, it is probably too expensive. And if you still want the experience, consider sharing, renting, or joining a membership club that offers access without full ownership. Because freedom is not found in the things we own. It is found in what we are no longer tied to. Let's keep going. The next trap is harder to spot because it is often sold as a smart decision, even though it quietly drains your money for decades. 8. Whole life insurance. Let us talk about insurance. Most of us buy life insurance for one simple reason: to protect the people we love. We want to make sure that if something happens to us, our families are not left with debt or financial hardship. That is a wise and caring choice. But not all insurance is created equal. And one kind in particular, whole life insurance, is often marketed as both protection and investment. On the surface, it sounds ideal. One product that gives you coverage and helps you build wealth over time. That is how it is sold. But what most people are not told is this: whole life insurance is one of the most expensive, inefficient financial products you can buy. Let's break it down. A typical term life insurance policy, which gives you coverage for a specific number of years, such as 20 or 30, might cost a healthy person in their 40s or 50s just a few $100s a year for $500,000 of coverage. That same amount of coverage under a whole life policy could cost $4,000 or more per year. That is 10 times the cost, every single year. Why is it so expensive? Because with whole life, a large portion of your premium goes toward commissions, fees, and administrative costs, especially in the first several years. The investment portion grows very slowly, often not keeping pace with inflation, and definitely not matching what you could earn in a simple index fund. Here is a real story. James, from Ohio, bought a whole life policy at age 54. After 8 years of faithfully paying his premiums, over $40,000 in total, he checked the policy's cash value. It was less than $30,000. He had lost money, while his insurance agent had earned thousands in commissions during the first year alone. It is painful, but it is not uncommon. The sad part is that many people buy whole life policies thinking they are doing something smart and responsible, when in fact, they are overpaying for protection and under-earning on the investment. So what is the wiser alternative? It is called the buy term and invest the difference strategy. You purchase a simple, low-cost term life policy, enough to cover your loved ones during the years you still have big financial responsibilities. Then, you take the thousands of dollars you save each year and invest it in a tax-advantaged retirement account, like a 401k or an IRA. Or, you put it into a low-cost index fund, like the S&P 500. This approach gives you stronger protection, better returns, and far more flexibility. Now, if you already own a whole life policy, do not panic. You have options. You can do something called a partial surrender, a policy loan, or even a tax-free exchange into a more efficient annuity. But please, speak to a fee-only financial advisor first, not someone who earns a commission on what they sell, but someone who is paid to give you unbiased advice. Remember, life insurance should give you peace of mind, not raise your blood pressure. Let's keep moving forward. The next trap we are going to talk about is easy to miss because it feels small, but it repeats over and over, year after year, and it is driven by some of the most powerful marketing in the world. 9. Expensive gadgets and constant tech upgrades. Let's talk about something small, something that fits in your pocket, sits on your desk, or lights up when it buzzes. Technology. Now, let's be honest. Many of us love our phones, our tablets, and our computers. These devices keep us connected to family, allow us to read, learn, and even manage our money. In many ways, they have become essential. But here is where the trap begins. Every single year, a new model comes out, a slightly better camera, a slightly faster chip, a new feature you probably will not use, but it sure does look tempting. And just like that, your perfectly good phone, the one you bought last year, suddenly feels outdated. That feeling? It is not an accident. Companies like Apple, Samsung, and others have mastered something called planned obsolescence, the art of making you feel like your current device is not good enough, even though it still works just fine. And when you look at the numbers, the cost is staggering. A new smartphone now costs over $1,000. A new laptop can run $1,500 or more. If you upgrade every year or two, you might be spending $10,000 to $15,000 every decade just to keep up with marketing. Let me share the story of Robert, a retired teacher from Denver. He loved staying current with technology. But one day, he sat down and added up what he had spent on phones and laptops over the past 10 years. The total? Over $14,000. He said, "I could have taken a cruise around the world, twice." Now, let's pause here. Technology is not the enemy. In fact, it can be a powerful tool. But here is the shift we are making. Use technology based on your needs, not on the marketing. Financially wise people do not upgrade every year. They keep their phones and laptops for 3, 4, even 5 years until they truly no longer meet their needs. And when it is time to upgrade, they do it smartly. They buy last year's model at a 30 to 40% discount. They consider certified refurbished devices, which often come with warranties, just like new. And for computers, they sometimes upgrade the memory or storage for a few $100s instead of replacing the entire machine. You do not have to stop using technology. You just have to stop letting it use you. The money you save by skipping the yearly upgrade, it adds up. And if invested wisely, it can grow into something truly meaningful over time. Because in the end, no one ever says, "I'm glad I had the latest phone every year." But many people say, "I wish I had more savings, more freedom, more time." And now, we have reached our final trap, one that is deeply emotional, incredibly personal, and often comes wrapped in white dresses, fancy dinners, and well-meaning intentions. 10. Expensive weddings. Let me begin this one with love. Weddings are beautiful. They mark the beginning of a life together. Two people standing side by side, promising to walk the road ahead as one. That moment deserves celebration. No question. But here is the truth. Most people do not say out loud. The cost of that celebration is getting out of hand. Right now in the United States, the average wedding costs more than $30,000. That includes the venue, the dress, the food, the photographer, the flowers, the favors, and often, debt that follows the couple or their families for years. And here is the heartbreaking part. So many couples begin their marriage not with security, but with stress. Not with savings, but with payments. And not with freedom, but with a financial burden. Now think about this. If that same $30,000 were invested, instead of spent on a single day, and allowed to grow for 35 years, it could turn into more than $450,000 by retirement age. almost $500,000, traded away for a few hours of celebration. And what does the research say? Studies have shown that couples who spend less on their weddings tend to stay married longer, not because they love each other more, but because they start their lives together with financial wisdom, shared values, and less stress. Let me share a story that may inspire you. Jennifer and Michael, a couple from Boston, helped their daughter plan a small, intimate wedding in their backyard. They spent $5,000 and used the $25,000 they saved to help her and her new husband with a down payment on their first home. That home grew in value, provided stability, and became a place where future grandchildren now play, all because they chose meaning over extravagance. So, what is the wiser path? Keep the heart of the wedding, but simplify the rest. Have the ceremony on a weekday. Choose a park or a family home instead of an expensive venue. Skip the designer dress and choose something elegant but affordable. Use digital invitations. Keep the guest list small. Focus on the vows, not the visuals. Use free wedding budget tools from websites like Zola or Wedding Wire to help stay grounded. And most importantly, talk about money early and honestly. Because a strong marriage is not built on centerpieces. It is built on trust, partnership, and a shared vision for the future. Your daughter, your son, your grandchild, they deserve a joyful wedding. But what they need even more is a strong start in life. Let us teach them by example. Let us show that love is not measured by how much we spend, but by how much we care. And now that we have walked through all 10 traps, it is time to step back, take a breath, and look at the bigger picture. Let's close this out together. A gentle reflection and goodbye. We have covered a lot today. 10 choices, 10 habits, 10 financial traps that over time can quietly chip away at your wealth, your peace of mind, and your freedom. Some of them may have surprised you. Others, you might have recognized from your own life. And if that brought up some regret, I want to tell you something right now. You are not behind. You are not too late. And you are not alone. You have made the best decisions you could with the knowledge you had at the time. But now, you have something even more powerful: clarity. And with clarity, you can make different choices. Smarter choices, wiser choices, ones that honor your future, protect your peace, and maybe even leave a legacy that goes far beyond money. Because in the end, this journey is not about being perfect. It is about being intentional. It is about pausing before the purchase, asking the deeper question, and saying no, not because you are depriving yourself, but because you are respecting yourself. So, whether you are 60, 70, or even 80 years old, your financial story is still being written. And every page from this moment forward can be different from the ones before. So let me ask you, which one of these traps are you ready to walk away from? Which one felt closest to your own experience? Leave me a comment below, even just a few words like, "That hit home," or, "I needed this," because every comment helps us reach someone else who might need this same message today.